Lord. Meta Budgies Esports, tune in video blind tour, like and subscribe some more. With Chuck's Brian and the Savage Meta Budgies Esports, tune in video blind tour, like and subscribe some more. With Chuck's Brian and the Savage Meta Budgies Esports, the comes the John, Felix Sport, Eddie John, the best news I come from, Easy Sports, video, tune in video. Like and subscribe to us. Sometime we are the tours. Meta emojis is fast. Tune in video blind tour. Like and subscribe some more. With Chuck's Brian and the Savage Meta emojis is sports. Tune in video blind tour. Like and subscribe some more. With Chuck's Brian and the Savage Meta emojis is sports.
Good evening and welcome to another episode again of GZ Sports. It's your guy Johnson Bryan. This time again, South is obviously not here. South is we all know he's traveling. He's currently caught up in some congestion issues, I can say. He won't be on today, and I did promise you guys Fry won't be on today either. Fry, as we posted on our Twitter page, you can see here the official Twitter page. You can go ahead and give us a follow. Fry's having some technical issues, so it won't be on. Well, not for the immediate time. Still not back yet, so we're just waiting to see if he may join today. But I'm still here. If I'm not here, then you guys will know. You'll always know when we're here and when we're not. So good evening. I hope you guys are doing well today. We're a bit earlier, and we all know why. If you do follow us, then sorry, I think first. Yeah, so we're early due to the fact that there are two sporting events, Keith. Not just the one that we normally do when it comes to football, but not Jamaica playing Guatemala today, 4:06. I think it's 4:06 p.m. today, Jamaica time. Um, be able to watch it on ESPN or FS1, not sponsored. But at 4 p.m. as well locally, we do have the Jamaica trials, and that's gonna be fun. I mean, it's proved a lot of shocks so far this season, and so far this week started on Thursday, I think, and it's proved a lot of shocks so far. But we are football first. Based on the guys we use, we are football first. So we'll start with Jamaica. I mean, there's no real club football, so we got to stick with the Gold Cup right now. We're gonna play Guatemala in under an hour's time. The lineup actually just came out. If I could pull that up right now, that would be great. But yeah. So how are you guys doing today anyway? Not really seeing much of you guys' comments so far. Um, but yeah. So the lineup here is as follows. There it is. I'm gonna show it there. Lineup there it is. Andre Blake in goal. Javane Brown is gonna be starting with Damian Lowe, Deshaun Bernard, and Amari Bell making up the back four. Shows that it's gonna be Brown at left back, no Lembekisa, which is a bit Brown at right back, so no Lembekisa. Pinnock is still not available. We'll talk about that later on in the show. Latibodier and Lambert in the midfield, which is about picks itself based on how Grimson wants to play. No room for Johnson or anything like that. No surprises. Gray, Reed, Bailey, Antonio, the front four, as per usual, won't stop. It won't change. No room for Paris or anybody like that. We are going out to make a name. We're going out to be that team today. Now we have to win this because Guatemala. I don't know if you guys have watched the previous game with Guatemala. I think they were playing was it Guadeloupe? And the real problem with Guatemala, the reason I don't really like them, it's down to their fans because their fans really made that game hard to watch. Throwing projectiles and you know the things they were saying. I know there are many people who can't speak Spanish. I am a bit deficient. I do know a bit of Spanish, so when I hear what they were saying, it's a bit nasty, using a smaller word. It's a bit nasty of what they were saying, the things they were throwing as well. It wasn't good. It wasn't good, and I really don't want that to happen to any of our players today. I hope we can get a really good result. 2-0. Doesn't matter what the score is. We just have to outplay Guatemala. Simple as that. They don't have the better team on paper. We do have the more talented players, hands down. It's just if those players want to show up. Simple as that. It's just if they do want to show up. Um, Heading into this game, because hopefully, I thought Sub was going to be on, but he's not here. Um, yeah, we're going to discuss our lineups. He had an interesting one. Since he's not here, I'm not going to pull it up. You guys can see it on the Twitter page. It's been posted today. Um, But the only thing I got different from what Hallgrimson just went with is Lembakisa not starting. But apart from that, it's been the same team. I think he's found a core that he can use. So in the next international window, we're going to be seeing out of that starting 11 at least 6, 7 players consistently be there. There's no Mariappa in a game like this. Damian Lowe is playing, which is good. He's back from suspension. Doesn't seem an injury concern. Dishon Bernard, we can speak about him later on. He's a rock in his first, I think this is his third ever game for Jamaica officially. The Jordan one is not. The Jordan one doesn't count. So yeah, we should be looking to demolish Guatemala. I know it may not happen because we're Jamaica. We can screw up a result. We can make a game harder than it needs to be. But saw an interview with Hal Grimson. It was him and Kevin Lambert, and they were asking Kevin if they were favorites, and he was more on the lines of, "Well, we're just in the quarterfinals. We have to take it a game at a time." I think that's a decent response. You don't want to go out there all guns blazing saying, "Well, of course we're the favorites. America, as long as we can score more than one goal, America can't beat us. Canada is not good, um, and there's nobody to really test the country, test the team, barring Mexico. And Mexico are not. Mexico easily got past Costa Rica last night. They're going to be the only real team. Santi Jimenez, Julian Araujo, Sanchez, Edson Alvarez, Jesus Gallardo, they're all here. They're all there, all they need is Guardado and Raul Jimenez, and they've got the strongest team, and Chucky Lozano. So they're not going weak like the rest of the competition. Mexico is going to be the real title game, the real game that it's going to test how good we are at this point in time, or where we are as a team. Like, and we can speak about the lineup even in more in depth, because right, Mexico is not the near future. Guatemala is. Does this lineup sends shockwaves through the rest of the Caribbean? I don't think it does. I think Kevin Lambert, for all he's done, and he's probably the best player for the Reggae Boys squad so far in the Gold Cup throughout the whole group stages. For all he's done, don't get me wrong, he is Matic of 2021. He's not Matic of 2016-17. He's good, but you clearly see that he can be better. He was once better. Latibeaudiere Well, he just can't pass. He genuinely just can't pass the ball properly. I mean, he's a really good rock in the team. Use him as an anchor, if you will. He just gets the ball and tries to find the shortest pass possible because spreading it wide and spreading passes left to right, he ain't no Tony Cruz. He can't do that. But he does bring that stability or that defensive stability into the team. Now, Lambert, on the other hand, Lambert has shown that he can do the simple things, but if required, he can spray the ball left and right and send one down the channel into the feet of Gray or into the feet of Bobby Reed or Antonio. He's shown he can do that. But the rest of the team, let's go into the wing positions. I just brought up Gray and Reed. I think Reed should actually be in the 10 position. He's played centrally at Fulham rather than on the flanks. You know, Willian is there and Harry Wilson, so he doesn't play on the flanks. I think putting Leon Bailey on the wing is a game changer. I'm not gonna renege on my statement saying, yo, Leon's rubbish. Leon is rubbish when he puts on a Jamaica shirt against St. Kitts. It was probably his best ever performance. The thing is, if you put him on the flank, he's not as fast as Demarai Gray. Let's not get that confused. He's not as quick as Demarai Gray. But he does got them legs. He's got them legs. He can move, right? He can go, he can take on a player. He's skillful enough to beat that player. But we've not really seen that. You know, how many times has he played on the flank since Algrimson's come in? He's never done it. He's been played as a centre forward. He's been following the Emery train, basically. Emery. And it's just weird because even in Villa, right? And I can bring up the game against Brighton at the end of the season. Um, or let's use the Spurs one. Leon, even though starting in as a centre forward, he did drift a lot into the channels as a trequerista, if you will. Um, Drifting left, drifting right, picking up passes, taking on players. And in that team, Jacob Ramsey would step up into his position and play as a false nine. Now, we don't have any one of those players, as we said, Lati Bodier and Lambert. They're going to stay, they're keeping their position. They're like Fred and McTominay of United in 2020. You're not going to see bombing forward. They're going to stay and protect the back four. Simple, or the back two, because the fullbacks don't stay back anyway. That, to me, is going to make Bailey, because I've seen a lot of people say that with the team does struggle when Leon is in the 10 position because he just can't play it. He just can't do it. He can't do it effectively, right? Maybe he can do it in certain times, but he can't do it effectively. Now, on to other matters anyway, because we can talk and talk and talk about lineups. If Sam was here, would have been a more detailed discussion. Same with Fry, because they all had separate lineups. Um, Ethan Pinnock, as we did push back, Ethan Pinnock is not going to be in the Gold Cup. It's really sad because with him, I could say, yeah, we're definitely going to win the title. Um, he's had some family issues at the back end of last season of the Premier League. His wife, not him, well, his wife did give birth. Apparently, there were some complications afterwards, so he's been with his family. No doubt that's okay. Um, Families first. I mean, let's be honest. Football should never come before someone's family. As you know, Sir Alex said it, Ronaldo said it. The family is first. So he can stay there as long as he needs to. He's technically not playing any football right now. He's not with Brentford. Their preseason doesn't start for another. I think it doesn't start for another week or so. So he's okay. He won't be involved in preseason. He can easily catch back up. We're just hoping that everything goes well. Just something I didn't really put on the itinerary today, but Edwin van der Sar, hope he's doing better at a cerebral hemorrhage, so basically bleeding on the brain. Um, and he had to be transported to the hospital via helicopter. I listen, as a Man United fan, and I started watching United about around the time Van der Sar was there. Um, Best goalkeeper I've ever seen in the United shirt. Simple as that. and I hope he can pull through because he has a lot of life to live. He's not done with his life yet. It would be very sad to lose a person like that. And this is gonna sound weird, but it hurts to lose a person like that. And you have some people who don't seem they're contributing or anything like that to society, and they're living on healthy as ever. But I'm not going into that conversation. Hope Pinnock's wife and Van der Sar they're doing better, and we have some more positive news in the next couple of weeks. Um, Next action, because it's supposed to be a quick show. The game starts at 4, and I'm not planning to be sitting here at 3:59. Uh, um, Play of the tournament so far. I mean, you guys are watching. You can put in the comments who do you think has been Jamaica's best player so far in the Gold Cup? Because for me, I'm biased. I am biased. I would say Damari Gray, but on a purely footballing aspect, most of those results are not possible without Kevin Lambert. He has actually shown to be somewhat of a rock. I mean, when I saw the first lineup, I was like, I mean, play Johnson because I'm a big fan of Devon Williams, and I'm like play Johnson and Williams in the midfield. That's been working. One destroyer, one creative player, and it just goes through like that. Played Lambert. I haven't seen Lambert put a foot wrong, and that's surprising because I'm one of those critics who would be waiting to say I knew it. He shouldn't have played. Never should have been there. Rubbish. I'm like that person. But yeah, he's for me. He's been the only not the only player, but he's consistently been at a 7.5, 8 rating every match day. And I don't think there's gonna be any differences for Kevin Lambert today. He's gonna be that rock in the midfield. Hell, it would be sweet if he could get a goal today. But he is he is probably the best player that we do have in the squad so far. I mean, Deshaun Bernard can get a good shout. We've seen. I mean, how many games has he played so far? He's just played the last 2 games and he's conceded one goal. He can get a shout. Some people would put Leon Bailey as Jamaica's best player in the group stages. Um, I have my reservations on Leon because I know what he can do. I watched him in Belgium, not just in Germany. I watched him when he was in Belgium. For those who played FIFA 15, that's when we mainly saw Leon. And then we found out he's Jamaican. We kept watching, and everything. Then we saw him in the Bundesliga, and he was a talented player there. But based on that talent, we've not seen it. So I have my reservations, knowing he can do better. Um, has Antonio been good? And I've said this before. Antonio is playing like Vegas for Man United. He's not really doing anything. He's just a body up front. I mean, look, they've been playing long balls up to Antonio, the big 300-pound, 6'4" guy, and he's not winning any headers. He's literally Vegas in a Jamaica shirt. I am of the opinion that Shaman Nicholson is the best Jamaican centre forward we have, but he doesn't get game time, which is really shocking. It's not something I would really get into as to why he doesn't play more. That's down to the manager. That's down to his training sessions and what he does see. But again, I gotta ask you guys: who do you guys? You can put in the comments. Who do you guys think has been Jamaica's best player in the Gold Cup so far before they do take on Guatemala this evening? Hopefully, looking at for the score predictions. Knowing Guatemala, if they have all the fans on their side as they seem to do, it's gonna be a tough game. Like this is gonna be worse than playing Mexico in the Azteca. It's gonna be seriously worse. Um, Based on the atmosphere that is. Like I'm predicting a 3-0, a 3-1, because with that crowd they're not gonna get beat like that. So I am predicting a 3-1 victory. Um, I think Leon is gonna perform not to his ability, but perform at a level which is good enough for us. He's Damari. He's been class since he's been here. I think Deshaun will be a rock again. His pace is gonna be very vital today. Same with Damian. Their pace is gonna be hella important for the game today. And Javane Brown is gonna have to be a rock because let's be honest, he's only played the one game. Um, he hasn't even played in the friendlies coming in, so that's another thing. But you know, hopefully Jamaica do well. And speaking of Jamaica, we are in the country, and the national senior and junior trials to an extent are going on now at the national stadium. Also starting at 4. So yeah, this is why I have two laptops and the TV. What can I say about the trials? What can I actually say about the Jamaica trials so far? Um, Shocking. I mean that's it. I mean, I remember I started on Thursday. The 100 heats were then came home. Getting ready to watch the 100 heats. Saw Johan Blake flashbacks of 2011 of how good he was and how good he continued to be. Always in ball shadow though. Um, you remember last season when he was arguably supposed to be on the podium. He he all I can say is he choked hard. He choked in that race. He choked harder than a fat girl eating chicken at an all you can eat buffet. It was horrendous. And this year it didn't change. It was no better for Johan. I mean, he false started. A person of his credibility, of his stature, should not be going on to races like that. I mean, I said it consistently. Johan, not consistently, but during that race, I mean, I was shouting. I thought everybody, the whole community could have heard me, and I wasn't feeling well anyway. Johan should sit in the blocks because there's no one in the race that can beat him. He doesn't need to get the best start. It's the heats. You're not going up against Oblique Seville. You're not going up against Kedron Golson. Well, Golson was there. But he wasn't going up against Akeem Blake. Those two, Blake and, well, Akeem and Blake are the two best sprinters that we do have currently when it comes to the international scene, anyway. So, unless they're in the race, you can take it easy. I'm not saying go out there, jog, and make a mockery of your opponents, but take it easy. He got thrown out. Akeem Blake, Oblique Seville, they did well. This guy, Kishane Thompson, he came out of nowhere, decided to win his heat over Oblique Seville, then disappeared. Um, and then in the finals, some kid from Yorkcastle decided to win the race and decided he was going to be the guy. Rohan Watson, was it? Watson? Yes, Rohan Watson. And that's just the start of the shocks because, as we do know, we have we had three talented women sprinters. Shelley and Fraser Price, who didn't have to be here because she has the bike. Sharika Jackson, who's the fastest in the world. And Elaine Thompson, who is the fastest living woman in the world based on her personal best. And Elaine finished fifth in the final. Now, 11:06 is not nowhere close to being a bad time, especially in female sprinting. But we're talking about Elaine Thompson. We're talking about somebody who I have to remember 2020 is a gap here, who at the last Olympics ran 10, what was it, 10:59 or something like that. She did go below 10:6. So we're talking about a person like that who went below, who's like that, now running 11:06. I mean, she lost to Brianna Williams, for God's sakes. Brianna Williams. I'm not disrespecting Brianna, but Brianna is not at that level. I mean, kudos to Sharika who won, but for Elaine to lose, and look at it this way: Elaine finished fifth. If Ashanti Moore had about 2 centimeters more of body weight, Elaine Thompson would not be on the plane because she didn't come off for the 200s. Because since Shelley has the bye, it's only top five, and if Ashanti Moore had beaten her, getting that tenth of a second quicker, Elaine would not be on the plane. Uh, and that's shocking for a world champion. Keep up the work. Hey, thanks TS7. What's up? Um, thanks for your comment. Appreciate it. But yeah, um, it's been shocking the national championships. I mean, I could pose this question to anybody. Who knew Rohan Watson even before the final? Not even in the semis or the heats, because we saw he could run because he didn't beat Akeem Blake or anything like that in the semis, in the heats. He did do well in his in his semi-final. But who the hell knew who he was? I mean, he's a kid from Yorkcastle. I mean, me and him are about the same age, and I don't think I've ever heard of him. And I've been going to champs since I was virtually in the bed. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It wasn't that year. Um, that wouldn't. I think I was. I think I actually was in the gut when I was going to champs. Not my fault. But no, for real. He went to a school that we aren't really familiar with, or one of the traditional or the big boys of champs. You know, he didn't go to a Kingston College or Manchester, Calabar, or Veer Tech in terms of co-ed schools or all boys. He went to Yorkcastle High. Yorkcastle are famous for having half a point in champs. Don't even ask me how that happened, but they got half a point. And now he's the world champ. He's not the world. Oh my god! Imagine if he becomes the world champion. I'm literally, if I'm Noah Lyles, Christian Coleman, Fred Curley, I'm retired. I'm not saying he can't go, be the guy, come up, and he is the man. He runs 9-7, wins it. The bro's personal best is 991 that he ran in the final. Like I don't, I don't see him being the world champion. Look, and it's shocking because I don't want to spend so much time on bloody Rowan Watson, but I was saying this to Sav that even though Rohan is the Jamaican champion in the 100, you can't just have four fast people on the relay team. You have to have at least two technically good relay runners. That's where Johan comes into this. And then we need another. Obviously, you're going to need to have fast people. You're going to need a Keem Blake and Oblique Seville to be on that team. The guy Ford who came second, he went to JC, and I've never heard of him. Tell you the honest truth, I've never heard of him in champs. Maybe it was before my time, and I don't know. I know as far back as O'Hara's time. So if he is in that age group, I should know of him. Even if he wasn't all that, he ran for JC. You normally know every Jamaica college runner. The relay team cannot have either of them. And I don't want to seem disrespectful, but it cannot. It just can't. I mean, you have to look at it this way. You already know three people on the relay team. Johan, who's gonna go in through via the 200, Akeem Blake, and Oblique Seville. Now Oblique is either gonna anchor the relay or to do on the backstretch. He's that type of athlete. He's either the Usain Bolt or the Asafa Power. Hopefully he's more Usain Bolt, you know what I mean? Akeem Blake is probably gonna be the starter because Conroy Jones is not there. I think he's the best starter that we do have. I've seen him since stats, lightning quick when he gets up. And Johan is notorious for running the third leg. Now, he is not, and I repeat this, Johan Blake is not the guy who he was in 2017. But when he gets that button, it's over. You don't even have to give your say to know it's over. It's over once Johan gets the button. The problem is, Johan has not been that guy for about 10 years. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. 2017, so 6 years, basically. And that's sad. Now, could you put Johan on the backstretch? He doesn't have that power. He does not have that power, especially not nowadays. I mean, in 2017, you wouldn't put him on the backstretch against Justin Gatlin. You don't want that. You know Tyson Gay is one of the best curve runners in history. You put him there, and Johan made him look like an absolute mockery. I think, And this is a huge call because I don't really like this. I don't really rate the guys who constantly are here. They make the team, and then they don't show up when it's needed, right? Rashid Dwyer should be on that relay team. As long as he finishes in a respectable level in the 200 meters later this evening, Rashid Dwyer should be on that team. It's as easy as it comes. Now, what leg? He cannot anchor that. He's a curve runner. So does that mean you do put Blake on the back stretch? I mean, if I am in charge of the federation, which I'm not, they're idiots. I would have from Blake to Dwyer to Blake to Seville. Now, can Rashid Dwyer actually manage the back stretch against Noah Lyles? Oh my, it's gonna be frightening. We might get absolutely destroyed on the back stretch. But he is one of those technically ideal exchanges. Just like Nickel Ashmead was. People wondered why Ashmead made the relay team. Kemar Bailey Cole, why they made it. Michael Freighter to an extent, because he wasn't lightning fast. But he knew how to keep a thing in check. I always reference Japan of the 2016 Olympics. Nobody on that team ran sub 10. Yet still, the relay team was what, 38 seconds or 37 seconds? Because of the quickness of the button change. It's all about the button change in the relay. It doesn't matter about your speed. I mean, the women of Jamaica showed it at the last event. Elaine Thompson's as fast as it comes, right? But she can't hand the button off. She can't take a button in the correct hand. That's just how it is. Um, yeah, but let's talk about the women because the men are really depressing. I can't. It's hard to look at the men's side and say, "Oh, I'm due see 4 medals." It's hard to do that. You can't name 4 medals. On the women's side, Shericka Jackson, fastest woman in the world. Sha'Carri Richardson, second fastest woman in the world. I mean, Sha'Carri ran 10.71. What was it? The Thursday, and on the Friday or the Saturday, I knew they were day after day. After Sha'Carri ran 10.71, it was the fastest woman in the world. It lasted less than 24 hours because of the time zone you have to calculate. It was about 23 hours. Shericka ran 10.65. Shericka ran through the tape for some goddamn reason. She just wanted to flex. And that's going to be hell of a good. I mean, if Sha'Carri can keep up, obviously, if they don't find anything like they did last time, it's going to be a hell of a race. I mean, let's not count out Shelly. Like, Shelly Ann can still go 10.6 if she needs to. That's the thing. If the pressure is as high as it is in Budapest, does Sha'Carri get those bright lights in her face and a deer in the headlights and messes up her chance of ultimately toppling the entire country of Jamaica? Does she do that? Or does she actually see this as an opportunity and grab it with both hands and throw it down like prime John Cena? We don't know. But Shericka versus Shelly versus Sha'Carri, it's a battle of the S's, isn't it? Battle of the S's. And as a Jamaican, obviously, as a Jamaican, I'm gonna lean towards Shelly Ann. I don't want to bet against Shericka because I've lost bets against Shericka. I don't gamble, by the way, but I've lost bets. I mean, Shericka ran about 21.5 last year, wasn't it? In the 200 final, she tried going for the record in the Diamond League afterwards. She didn't get it. Sha'Carri ran 21.6 in the two. So it's gonna be a hell of a sprint double. That's all I'm gonna say. On the women's side, I can see getting like if Jamaica finished with 14 medals, 12 are from the women's side. That's how depressing the men's side is. And I mean, we have to see it that way. I mean, are we confident ahead of Budapest? No, we're not. I've never been confident. I mean, ever since Usain Bolt retired, I've never been confident of a track meet, of an international trophy or international competition with Jamaica. Never been confident. Maybe we get medals from Shelly, Shericka, the relay teams of both 4x1 and 4x4. You look at triple jumper, Shanika Ricketts is the second best in the world. Nobody's beating Rojas. She does that shit in her sleep. But we do get a medal there. Do you count in long jump? Can Tassana Hicklin or one of them actually break into that? Can it be a breakout star? Tajay Gale, I don't know what you're going to get. Pinnock, he's not reliable. He's been at KC for about 12 years and he's just made it senior. Um, the hurdles, you could say Megan Tapper, because the finals of that is today. You could say Megan Tapper is in for it. But then you look at Camacho Quinn, you look at Kenny Harrison, you look at Amusan. Those are chicks running 12-3 consistently. And my God, it's real. I mean, Kenny Harrison does act like a deer in the headlights. She doesn't even act like a deer in the headlights. She actually acts like she plays for Spurs because she's always faulted at the worst possible time. I remember when she should have won it in 2015, and Daniel ended up beating her. That was not supposed to happen. Not even us as Jamaicans saw that happening. But when I'm not personally, I'm not confident. Now maybe my narrative changes after the final day today, but I'm hella not confident at all in this in the World Championships coming up. Um, Men's side, I mean, I can actually tell you where we're getting the medals from on the men's side. We're gonna get one or possibly two. There is a chance at two in the sprint hurdles, Parchment and Broadbelt, and that's if they're both fit and everything is good for us. Tajay Gill, as I said, you can't rely on him. The 100, I don't see that happening because these guys take it as a joke. They're all jokes. The 200, we haven't had a good 200 runner since Blake got injured. Because, Usain has been great over 200. But we're talking current. Well, Blake put on too much shoulders, bro. He's too heavy to do the 200 properly on his level. The 4x1s, I don't see a medal because you got Canada, you got the United States, you got Britain. So we're going to have to knock one of those teams. That's not going to be easy. The 400, I mean, we got a special kid named Antonio Watson. Really special kid. But I have no idea if Antonio Watson is going to be able to chase down guys who's easily running 43.8 or 44.1. This guy's PB is 44.7. Now, he might break that this evening. I expect him to run 44.5 just to prove a point. But that's still not good enough. 400 hurdles, Jahil Hyde. I've been somebody, even though we were once schoolmates, I've always thought bad of Jahil Hyde because he should have developed. He ran 48, what was it, 48.4 in the finals 2 nights ago. Jahil was running 48.4 in the champs final in about 2000. I think that was like 2015 or 16. He's not improved. He's regressed massively. And he's not showing any level of improvement. I don't think he can improve in the future. 800, nothing. 15, nothing. So right now we're looking at 3 medals on the men's side in Carolina. But as I said, narrative might change over the next week. Maybe Seville decides to take this seriously and runs to his potential. Maybe Rohan Watson can prove all of us wrong. Maybe Johan Blake's back. Maybe he comes out, makes the final and in lane 7 and decides to run 19-4 and beat Noah Lyles. We don't know. Maybe that happens, but until then, I'm not confident. And just the final, because we're actually running through because we don't really have much guests today. The final topic, is this the end for Elaine Thompson here? Now, when I got this message, actually, it was a topic that I wanted to discuss. And he said, is it the end for ETH? I'm like, is Tenor getting fired? And he said, no, it's athletics. I'm like, oh. But no, for real. Is this the end for Elaine Thompson? Bro, I said this when she won her first Olympic title over Shelly Ann. Shelly had a kind of 9 toes running on. She had to have specially made shoes because her toe was broken, but she never wanted to stop. And I said, is this I was asked, yo, is Elaine taking over from Shelly? And I'm like, Shelly's gonna fix that toe, come back and win. She did. And that performance from Elaine in the World Championships afterwards, I was like, she's an Olympic sprinter. She's a once in a lifetime type sprinter. So she's not the type of person to dominate like Usain and Shelley did. Hell, you can put Karen Stewart in that because Karen, let's be honest, Karen was always there. Sharon Simpson. But Elaine, I remember she was shit at World Championships after the 2016 Olympics. She was shit there. She was rubbish 2019. She won the 200, but she was rubbish in that tournament. Almost tossed the 4x1s again. And Olympics come around. She's all of a sudden the best person in the world. She's better than sliced bread. She's she's higher than Lionel Messi. She's higher than Ronaldo against Sampdoria. And then she shit again this year. I mean, she's an Olympic sprinter. People say she's one of the best in history. I'm like, to be the best, you have to be consistent, and she's never been consistent. Never. I mean, she's been consistent as shit, but that doesn't count. There was an interview, Sportsmax did it with Stephen Francis, head of MVP Track Club, and basically they asked him if Elaine said she wanted to come back to MVP, is she welcome? Bro flat out said no, no way in hell. And that's a big statement because let's be honest, Stephen Francis, as a man who people claim don't have manners or behavior, no politeness or decorum about himself, he doesn't flat out say no. He will give a reason or he will beat his way around the bush. Like he normally Stephen Francis in a question like that would say, well, like for example, if they asked about Shelley, he would probably say something along the lines of, well, she was once an MVP athlete. If she decides that's her decision, I'm not here to persuade anyone or something like that. Brogy flat out said, no, I'm not taking Elaine back. She's not coming back. It's impossible. It's dead. Everything is dead. He's good with who he's got. I mean, look at Natasha Morrison. Bro's turning everybody's into stars. Hell, Rohan Watson's out of his captain. So, hey, he's doing things down there, Ian Paul. But I think, look, you know when it's time to retire. Usain knew it was time to retire. He knew, right? He kept his body wasn't reacting how it normally did, and he said, "Yeah, this is it. He can't go on." I mean, he pulled it the 4x1, if you all remember. He came third after we all thought he was going to win the 100, didn't we? Coleman was off, but we saw that story for so many years of somebody getting the run on Bolt, and then all of a sudden he's just 60 meters, he starts kicking, and he wins it. But then Gatlin won it. And shout out to Gatlin, by the way. People don't talk about this much, but he did bow down to the king. It's a show of appreciation. But I mean, he knew when it was time. He knew it was time. Asafa Powell, for all it's worth with him, surrounded sub 10 for the most times in history. He knew it was time. Like, Johan, he doesn't know it's time because he's had such a long gap, right? He's had such a long gap. Nesta Carter knew it was time because at one point we all just saw Carter as a starter on the relay team. It doesn't even matter if he comes to trials; he'll be the starter. And he knew that's it. That's over. He doesn't have an individual child. Kemar Bailey Cole with his injuries, he had to call it. I mean, if Bailey Cole was going to the World Championships, I'd have more hope on that relay team. Be honest with you. Elaine needs to know this is time. And does she want to go out on a low? No one wants to go out on a low. I mean, Zlatan finally called time in his career. He's been playing since God knows how long. He scored in the 90s, the 90s, the 2010s, and the 2020s. He scored in 4 separate decades. He's finally called time in his career. He's left at a great point. Actually, he's put Milan back in the Champions League. They're signing good players. They've got the revenue. The fans are back jubilant. The board is happy. He's left them at a high. I mean, Sir Alex left Man United on a high. I'm trying to think of somebody else who's been retired. Um, but you've got to try. Look at Gatlin. Look at Gatlin. Gatlin beat Bolt and just ended it there. It was the first time. I think it was the only time he's ever beaten Usain Bolt, and he ended it there. Brilliant. That's you got to know when it's time when you know that they're gonna be beat. Elaine should have seen from the last track meet, the last World Championships, that it was time at that point. Because she fucked the relay. Sorry for my language. She fucked up that relay. You know, people saying, "Oh, Shasha Lee went off too soon." No, that's normal. And Shasha was running, and I mean, she was running. She didn't reach out. You have to reach when the person behind you says reach. And if you don't hear that, then you either keep running or you look behind you, which either way, it's going to end up horrible. I mean, look, Sherika Jackson ran about 9.4 seconds on the ankle leg. It still could have been. Elaine's got to know that was the last time. She came, what was that, fourth in the final or fifth? It was a Jamaica 1-2. That's what I know. Ran 1-2. Dina Asher Smith was there, who got a medal. And then I think Talu was fourth. So I think she ran fifth. In the 200, she was horrendous. Does she want to try and end on a high? I mean, she's got to leave her husband. And I don't mean in that sense. Don't take it that way. I don't mean in that sense. She's going to have to get an actual coach. Right? Not everyone's spouse can be a coach. Right? Not everyone's spouse could be a coach. I mean, look at Shanika Ricketts. Her husband's doing wonders because I remember a time she couldn't really go over 15 meters. Now she's bombing 16, close to 17. He's doing well. That's working. Keep that going. Um, Shelly, so Shelly leaving leaving Frano and going to her husband because she knows, even though he's friends with Asafa Powell and does know the track industry well, she knows it doesn't make sense. So she's out Ronaldo Walcott, who I think is the next best coach in the world in terms of athletics. Don't sleep on that. He's a he makes sprinters. He does not find a sprinter and trains them properly. He makes sprinters, and that's a thing. He does make them. Bro constructs them in a lab like an Erling Haaland or as Zlatan. But seriously, on that point of Elaine, is that the end for her? I think the end is near. I don't think the end is now, but I think the end is near. She has to go out somehow. Look, Veronica Campbell went out winning gold medal over 200 meters. It wasn't that the major event. Remember, we all remember at the World Championship, she ran out of her lane, ran about 3 lanes to the left. But she did go out on her terms. Karen Stewart. Karen Stewart was once a world champion, if you all remember correctly. She was once a world champion. I mean, yeah, she and Shelley at the same time, but yeah, and they gave, she was once on top of the world. Now, you guys, we have to recognize that. You have to know when it's time. You don't want to be the reason or the cause that we can't progress. Merle Nutty is a prime example. She never wanted to go, even though the best she could do was silver. And she knew that. But she didn't want to go. She didn't want these youngsters to take her spotlight or whatever. And we have to see that that is where we're progressing to. We don't need a lane anymore. We can say that confidently. We've got Sharika. Hell, we don't even need Shelly. We've got Sharika. The Clayton twins are coming up. Alana Reid is still a youngster. Hell, Karika Hill is a sprint hurdler. She could do the sprint, so she's faster than Alana, who's running at 10.9 on her best. So we don't need them. On the men's side, we need a lot of help. We need open heart surgery. We need open heart surgery on the men's side. Because Johan might be a good head figure to have around the guys, but no way in hell is he good enough to be that guy anymore. Akeem Blake, he needs to let go. And people will say, what you mean? Akeem Blake, on his day, can beat Christian Coleman. He's shown that. Akeem Blake on his day, I can see a 971 out of Akeem Blake. I can see 972. Could he go sub that? I have no idea. Akeem Blake needs to let go. Something mentally is holding him back. Now he might not, even him might not know what's going on. He doesn't. He might not know what that is holding him back. But whatever it is, something needs to snap within him, and he has to let go. Now oblique Seville, it's simple as it's like night and day. Oblique has nothing holding him back. He's just lazy. He's just fucking lazy. I mean, listen to Glenn Mills. He's been Bolt's coach for all this time, and he was the one who hinted that Bolt might be ending when he did. He's confidently said Oblique Seville can break Bolt's record if he actually tries. That's frightening to see that this guy doesn't want to run any faster than 9.8. And the coach, the guy who coached Usain Bolt for all those years, and Johan Blake, says this guy is much faster than both of them combined. It's weird, but enough talk of that. Thanks, guys, again for joining us for another GZ Sports episode. We're always here earlier than normal. Normally we're at 4. We already explained that from the start. If not, you can always rewatch this video. Check us out on the Twitter page. There's the link in the chat right there. Give a follow. Transfer window's open, so we have to be reporting. Dusan Vlahovic could leave Juventus, and Juventus are planning to go for I don't remember his first name. Youssef, yes, Youssef and Nasiri from Sevilla. So a lot of things are gonna happen in the next weeks. Man United will have a new goalkeeper, maybe 2. Chelsea might have a new striker. Arsenal might finally announce Declan Rice. City might reach an agreement for Josko Ivardiao. Anything can happen, but we'll be reporting it first time on GZ. You can follow us there. There's a Twitter handle. And you guys can always give us a like, subscribe on YouTube as well. It's how it is. We will be back on Spreaker. I can confidently say if Jamaica wins, we're gonna be doing a show on Spreaker this week. Um, yeah, but guys, thanks again for being here. Do appreciate it. Um, Hopefully we do win this game this evening, and hopefully the trials does have some fireworks. But again, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks again for being here. Vamos.
Go
Acabou de esportes, Julie video bem tour, like and subscribe some more. Big chucks right under the subject, acabou de esportes, Julie video bem tour, like and subscribe some more. Big chucks right under the subject, acabou de esportes.